Baby cakes, you are the lemon juice squeezed on a chicken schnitzel. We're going to talk about gold today, the importance of gold. It's going to relate to the Bitcoin Spot ETF. The central banksters, they are not our friends. The central banksters, they know what's up with crypto. We have to look at the lessons of history so we can go forward with confidence into the future. Did you know Volcker was the ex-Federal Reserve head? He said in the 1970s, the biggest mistake they ever did was let the gold price get out of control. He said this once publicly, and I promise you, ever since that point, there has been a conspiracy to manipulate the price of gold. That was the warning shot. They accidentally let the market know that it was a grave mistake for them to let the price of gold go untethered. So here I am telling you, they manipulated it back then. And of course, they still do it today. If the Bitcoin ETF grows too big, we means me and you, we will suffer the same fate. Let's go for this deep dive. Have a look at this. This is gold. Gold did a 20x in just this 10-year period from 1970 to 1980. What a monstrous run. Look at this arrow where it starts. So many valuable lessons can be learned of history. This is Volcker. He is one of the most respected politicians that ever graced America, but of course, he set the path. So have a look at this. When Bitcoin, we're going to read this part, okay? When Bitcoin gets big enough to undermine the credit label of the government fiat currency, the government will try to stop it in the same way they did with gold. They created 100x leverage claims on the gold, which is what they have today. They've already done that. And they keep its price down on the futures exchange ETF. For example, they have paper claims. The bids and the offers are fake fugazis. You do not settle in spot gold. So somebody can come, and is what they do, they can spoof trillions of tons of gold that don't exist on Earth. Of course, they don't do it that size. They do just enough to stop it. I want to take you to the very top of this chart. Look up here. This was, see this rally? Wow, we're going up to the moon. This was 10 years of embarrassment for the central bank. Look at this. We're going to read up here. This 20x gold rally was embarrassing to the US government, the world reserve currency. They still seek vengeance on it ever since. All right. And they do it through the paper gold ETF. Bitcoin can avoid this if everyone held it in their wallet. Now, I want to ask you, do you think everybody is going to hold it in their wallet? I hope you are. I hope a lot of us take self-custody, but I don't trust most people. They're going to fall into the same trap as before. I have the actual gold chart here for you. You can look this up on TradingView. You type in GOLD, gold, the same color as the strength of our friendship together, baby dolls. This is a regular chart. And what I'm going to do is I have a secret bonus here for you. I have the actual federal funds rate in the background overlay as well. I have this nice, beautiful chart to show you. This is the history. You can see these giant spikes in between. You're like, whoa! This was inflation going absolutely nuts. But a lot of people misconstrue what happened in the past. America's population was young. Everybody was a hippie. They were doing handstands in the fields. They were smoking the doobies. They were going around. It was free love, free life. It was different. There were flowers and daisies everywhere. The American population was younger. When you are younger, you have a higher propensity to spend, and that's what was causing the underlying sticky inflation. That's why it got out of control, because young people spend a lot, and now what we have today, we have the opposite problem. We have a lot of older generation people. Older people are much more wise with their money. They're tighter with their money. They don't want to buy those brand new fluffy slippers because they got a pair last Christmas. They don't need a new pair. They're going to sit down on their squeaky chair and they're going to let it squeak as long as they can. This is the difference we have with the economies today. That's why the interest rates were just flunked up like you wouldn't believe. And everybody was scared that in our time that they're going to flunk up as well. We have different circumstances and the government is better at scamming the numbers as well. So I have this overlay here. You can see it in the orange here in the background, right? So you can see what was happening during this time. I'm going to put it on a log chart so we can actually visualize what was going on. Do you see during the 1970s to the 1980s, you can see this orange line going up. It was Paulie Volcker and the other Federal Reserves, the chairmans, they had to keep inflation under control. They had to hike the rates. And if you notice this, there was a giant meme that got caught around the world. You can see this. See, gold was an absolute monster. Gold went huge, 20x. I mean, no one even knew what a 2x was back then. And this thing went a 20x. This was before electricity. This was before the internet, right? Bitcoin was barely invented here. There was absolutely nothing going on. It all traveled through word of mouth. We didn't have the telephones back then to tell us, do we degen long or short? That's why these things were so much more powerful back then when they actually caught wind. So back here, when gold went up, it sent a signal. And this is what we've ultimately got to remember. At the end of the day, if Bitcoin ever goes too far, and look at this, gold went up and it just would not come down. If Bitcoin ever went too far, they will turn out the emergency nuclear weapons. They will come out for Bitcoin. They will manipulate it through the Spot ETF and the Futures ETF. They'll manipulate it all the way. They will. I promise you they will. Everyone can be bribed. They'll find out who owns the wallets. They will make deals with them. They'll give custody over. Trust me, they will. They have the printer. They have the printer. This is what you got to understand, okay? Even if you are an institution and you have Bitcoin, for example, let's say someone has like 50,000 Bitcoin, it doesn't matter. You know why? Because you might say on Twitter, on YouTube, in the interviews, you go, I'm never selling my Bitcoin. I'm going to keep it forever. But if they find out who you are, and they eventually will, the government will come and approach you with the money printer, okay? Now, what's everybody going to tell you? Everybody is going to tell you this. They're going to tell you, excuse me, you're not going to sell because you know the money printer is useless. That's what everybody says, all right? What do you think is really going to happen, all right? Someone's going to come and approach them. They're going to have a suitcase, and they're going to say, hey, name your price, okay? They're going to say, name your price. That person, that institution with 50,000 BTC, and this is the Fed and central banks, this is their underlying brokers, this is JP Morgan, this is how it actually works, okay? This is what they actually do. They don't go around and send everybody a letter saying, hey, we're coming to bribe you. They go do it one by one. You know who else who does it? China. Chinese government go and do this with gold mines around the world. I'll make another video about this another time. You can go and check different Italian gold mines, different mines in Europe. They actually had to put a ban on China. So the Chinese government have these private brokers who come in, just random Chinese dudes, and they say, hey, give me all your gold. We'll take maximum. They try to buy out every gold mine. So this is the type of stuff that governments do, but they shush you up. They never tell you about it on the media. Okay, so I'm telling you now, the money printer will appear to these big institutions and they will tempt them. And they'll say, hey, you want this? You want this? And of course, you're going to say no. Or are you? But what they say, hey, name any item you want. Right, you have 50,000 BTC. Let me ask you, let's say you had 5 Bitcoin. 5 Bitcoin. Let's say when they come and do this, Bitcoin's 100,000 each. Maybe you got 500,000. You don't want to hand it over. Well, what if they said, hey, okay, a house is $2 million. How about I give you a house and you just give me over the Bitcoin? And you think, what? Well, there you go, friends. See what I mean? I automatically just got you to name your price straight away. This is how they all get bribed. They all get bribed with power. They get bribed with the money printer. Look at the money printers floating around them. This is what they eventually do. They'll circle around them. When they have the BlackRock Bitcoin Spot ETF, they have more power to do this because they can accumulate more and they can just pick everybody off slowly. This is how they get their tentacles in the system. What can me and you do? We got to learn from what happened with gold. What happened with gold? Paulie Volcker's words. Don't ever forget that. Paulie Volcker. He literally said, okay, he said, remember, I'm not joking, right? He said the biggest mistake was letting the gold price get out of control. He basically admitted it. Look, it's funny. They did not say their biggest mistake was exuberant spending, keeping interest rates too low, paying too many underground fluffy slipper factories, whatever it is. They did not say any of those, which are the actual real causes. They never said, the problem was government spending. The problem was the government causes all the inflation. It was never that. They said, it was the gold price. It was the gold price, friends. Why do they say that? It's because gold is the beacon. Gold was the signal that something is wrong. This is why I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, when we talk about Bitcoin at giant numbers, look what happened with Jay Powell thinking about Arthur Burns, who was here. You see these inflation spikes going up. Look at the first gold rally. First gold rally as Arthur Burns comes in, he goes nuts, right? There's a 5x, okay? So when this was happening, you got to imagine Jay Powell is revisiting history and he says no one wants to be in Arthur Burns. The guy was basically too soft. He let inflation get out of control. All right. Now, he's learned from history, and that's why he did his best to combat inflation. He put rates of 5.25%, whatever they are. Absolute scam. Try to send the crypto industry to zero. We got that. 2022. What makes us think that next time is going to be any different? If they see the price of Bitcoin pop, and I mean pop, not 100,000. 100,000 Bitcoin is not a pop. That's only 2 trillion. But I mean pop. I mean if they start to see it towards gold's price, that's what I feel would be the ultimate danger. Towards gold's price, right, would be its market cap valuation. So if it got to around 2,000, right, gold's like $600,000 for Bitcoin, $500,000 to $600,000 per Bitcoin. You have to now decide, where do you think the emergency nuclear guns come out by the government? We are not going to know an answer. We're just going to have to hope that they let the market play out as it is to the upside. But me and you are just going to remember, you have absolutely no problems with rotating profit out, because that's the disaster and danger that's going to come on the way down. So when eventually Bitcoin goes up, when it comes back down, the FUD that's going to make you get out will literally be the government trying to do pseudo bans of some sort. Because we know that's coming, okay? We do know that's coming. Look, just told you. They've said to you, the problem with inflation wasn't interest rates, but talking in the 70s and 80s, okay? It wasn't interest rates. It wasn't the government spending. It wasn't the fluffy slipper factory. It was none of that. It was, we shouldn't have let anybody know there was a problem, because that's what gold is. So most likely with Bitcoin, this might be our future. They're going to use the Bitcoin Spot ETF to control the optics. They don't want anybody to know that a problem is there. They want to always keep order. Order. And for my Yankee friends, it's order. Okay? They always want to keep order. Always. They hate chaos. Governments can't operate with chaos. So think about it in your mind. Does order, if you are a bureaucrat, if you are controlling a population of people, do you think order represents Bitcoin going to $500,000 plus, flipping gold? Or do you think order represents Bitcoin capping at like $80,000 in the next cycle? It can't even pop 100. Think about what is more close to your reality. Once we can start to reverse engineer the scam, we can start to realize that we've got to be longing in this depression, because we've got to be prepared for the euphoria. And on the euphoria note, I'm still euphoric that you are my friend. Tell mum and dad, we're going to get another rally. But this time, it's not going to be gold. It's going to be our Ponzi coins. Like, subscribe, press the belly button, and all. I will catch you in the next one.